The Flying Eagles are preparing for the AFCON. The AFCON at the under-23 level. The Flying Eagles are preparing for that one, a real good, and we'll talk about that on the show. Also on Sports Today, we'll tell you that the Anambra State Sports Development Commission has signed an MOU with Brunuel and Winston Limited. We'll tell you the details about that on the show. Anthony Joshua is also on the show this morning, and then we'll talk about a certain Arsenal young star by name Arthur Okonkwo. He wants to lace his boots for one of the teams for our national team, be it under 17, under 20. We'll talk about that on the show. Also be talking about a Formula One, tennis, and then we'll tell you and give you a bit of information from the world of athletics, and we'll wrap up at the show with some fixtures of our league matches across our Western Europe, where we'll focus on France, Germany, Spain, England, and Italy on the sports show. Well, let's begin with our first story. Our first story is about the Anambra State Sports Development Commission. Yes, the Anambra State Sports Development Commission, under the leadership of its chairman, Patrick Estate Onyedum, has signed a memorandum of understanding with Brunel and Winston Limited. We hear Brunel and Winston Limited is to provide consultancy services for the Sports Commission in the form of marketing, communication, public relations, event planning, and advertising, as well as to create distinctive messages that communicate the Commission's objectives and programs for the team youth, sports athletes, activists, and aficionados within the states, the country, and diaspora. And according to Ojukwu Obakase, Director of Operations of the firm, Brunel and Winston Limited will carry out a thorough research towards providing insights regarding the Commission's needs and objectives with a very experienced team of capable hands and professionals. In his remarks, Chairman of the Anambra State Sports Development Commission, Patrick Estate Onyedum, stated that the memorandum of understanding with Brunel and Winston Limited is historic, as they will partner with the Commission towards the actualization of her ideas and execution of the blueprint in taking sports in Anambra State to the next level. He called on different stakeholders and practitioners to key into the vision of the Anambra State Sports Development Commission regarding sports culture in the state. High points of the occasion was the signing of the contract papers by top officials of the Commission and the firm. Also present during the signing of the memorandum of understanding was the Director of Sports at the Anambra State Sports Development Commission, talking about Madam Faith Okonna. Also there was the consultant to the Commission's chairman, talking about Olusule. So there were the two personalities that witnessed the signing of MOU between the Anambra State Sports Development Commission and Brunuel and Winston Limited. So we'll be looking out for that. I will be watching out and see what this new marriage between the ASSDC and Brunel Winston Limited will bring in terms of a potential for sports, taking sports to the next level in Anambra State. I will continue, we'll follow up on what's happening at the Anambra State Sports Development Commission. Away from the Sports Commission, let's tell you that Flying Eagles of Nigeria rounded off our preparations for the 2023 Total Energies Under-20 African Cup of Nations with a 6-1 annihilation of Kaobaba Athletic Under-23, and that was on Wednesday evening in Marrakesh, Morocco. It was rather a one-sided encounter as the Nigerian Under-20 team showed their predatory instinct barely 24 hours before their trip to Cairo, Egypt, the venue of the Under-23 or rather Under-20 AFCON. Flying Eagles head coach Ladan Boso gave minutes to players like Sahid Jimo, Abel Oguche, Emmanuel Uchebu, and Olamileko Adams. Midfielder Aminu Mohamed opened the floodgates of goals some seconds after kickoff, with other first half goals for Ibrahim Mohamed and Samson Lawal. Plateau United forward Emmanuel Uchebu and Augustine Njoko. Kaobaba Athletics reduced the deficit to 5-1. 5 minutes after the half-hour mark. On return, substitute Nicholas Jonathan scored a Flying Eagles a 6 goal. Nigeria's first match of the Total Energies Under-20 African Cup of Nations campaign will be against Senegal's Junior Teranga Lions. It may interest you to know, and that's coming up at the Cairo International Stadium this coming Sunday. The Flying Eagles are two-time FIFA World Cup runners-up and one-time bronze medalist will then face host Egypt on Wednesday, the 22nd of February, and Mozambique on the 25th of February at the same venue. All 4 semi-finals at the 12-team championship in Egypt will qualify to fly Africa's flag at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup finals to be staged in Indonesia. That's expected to come up from the 20th of May this year to the 11th of June. So we hope that the Flying Eagles will get their acts right and at least get into the semi-finals to get one of the 4 slots to qualify to play at the biggest soccer mundial for the under-20 level, which is coming up, like I told you, May 20th to June 11th later in the year. And we wish all them, the Flying Eagles, the very best in Egypt as they commence their quest for glory at the under-20 AFCON happening in Egypt under the leadership of coach Ladan Bosso, the former coach of Sunshine Stars, Abia Warriors, and FC Fanyoba. Elsewhere, Taiwo Mati failed to progress to the second round of the men's singles at the WTT FIDA Düsseldorf 2023 after suffering a 3-0 defeat at the hands of Chinese Taipei Cheng Jukao. The Nigerian got a bye to the round of 64 of the men's singles, but his stay in the competition was terminated by the Asian teenager in an encounter that lasted less than 1 hour as Mati lost 11-4, 11-5, and 11-9. Yet the West African champions say the competition such as the WTT FIDA Düsseldorf 2023 would expose some players, youngsters to top players and different styles of play, he said. Meanwhile, the 17-year-old Mati is excited about being listed for the 2023 WTT Singapore Smasher taking place next month. Also, on yesterday, we may interest you to know that Egypt's Mohamed El Bailai exited in the first round like Mati after losing 3-0 to the Belgians Florian Lambier, while Egypt's duo of Ahmed Salah and Omar Assar will start their campaign from the second round, which is at the last 32 of the men's singles. So you now know about this Nigerian by name Mati making real waves for table tennis. We'll continue to follow up on his development on Sports Today here, and we'll give you more information about him in the days ahead on the show. Now let's talk about boxing as we move away from table tennis, and Anthony Joshua makes a return to the news fold again. And Anthony Joshua, AJ, has been backed to replace Alexander Usyk in a sensational change of our opponent if Tyson Fury can't make a deal for an undisputed world title fight. Joshua will return to the ring against Jermaine Franklin, and that's expected to happen on April 1st at the O2 Arena, while Fury's promoters have set April 29 as the date for the bout with Usyk, which could land which could happen at the Wembley Stadium. We hear promoter Eddie Hearn has teased that the two-time former heavyweight champion could step in if a deal can't be reached with Usyk. Talks appear to have hit a snag between the two heavyweight champions, with promoters set for crunch talks later this evening at Arsenal. That was it has happened already, we hear, and that it happened during the match between Arsenal and Manchester City in London. And Deontay Wilder has been touted as a possible opponent for an outlandish fourth fighter, despite going 0-1 in the pair's trilogy. And Hearn said that Joshua could be the replacement as well. And Fury's promoters have claimed they have a date penciled in for April 29 at Wembley, his third UK bout in just over a year. However, Hearn has theorized that if the pair are having money issues that have driven them away from a deal in the Middle East, that it will be unlikely Fury takes a massive pay cut to fight in. Wimbledon. So lots of stories are coming through as regards to that one. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua replacing him, Deontay Wilder coming into the picture, but that has almost been sorted out, and we may see AJ back on the ring April 1 to be precise. We can't wait to see our man Anthony Joshua back again to do what he knows how to do best. Moving on to the fifth story of the day, I told you in our headlines that there's an Arsenal player by name Arthur Okonkwo, and Arthur Okonkwo is making ref reviews. Arsenal FC goalkeeper Arthur Okonkwo has disclosed that he got his height from his Nigerian parents. The 21-year-old, who is one of the tallest goalkeepers in Europe, has his stand at 6 feet 6 inches out. That's 1.98 meters, and he is currently on loan at Austrian Bundesliga side Sturm Graz. We hear Okonkwo, who was born in London, England, opened up about his height after keeping a clean sheet on his debut as Graz defeated Rapid Vienna 1-0 in a league match, and that was on last Friday. Okonkwo represented England at the under-16 and the under-17 levels, then debuted for the under-18s 2 days before his 18th birthday. And the former Crew Alexandra keeper, whose middle name is Chukwuezugo, remains eligible for Nigeria, though through his family descent. So you now know that Arthur Chukwuezugo Okonkwo wants equally to play for Nigeria, and this is a player that plays for Sturm Graz. Is on loan from Arsenal. At some point in time, he had a spell with Crew Alexandra in England, and this is one player the Nigeria Football Federation, the NFF, should look out for to get him to lace his boot for maybe for the under-20, and then step forward to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I think he has got experience under his belt, although he's 18, but he's playing at the biggest level of his career, and we wish him all the best in his professional career. And that's the story of Arthur Chukwuezugo Okonkwo, who plays for Arsenal Football Club, and he is a goalkeeper. And that's one department in our national team that we've struggled over the years after the exit of the likes of Peter Rufai, the likes of Ike Shoromu and Vincent Enyama and all that. We seem to have struggled in that department. At some point in time, we had Carl Ikeme. I was almost feeling it well until he had leukemia, and since then we've struggled a lot with the likes of Ozoho, Enuba, a whole lot of them coming through. But right now, maybe Arthur Okonkwo could be the story we'll use to solve our goalkeeping issue. So we'll be watching out for what the Nigeria Football Authorities will be doing as regards getting that man to lace his boot for the national team of Nigeria. Elsewhere, former Brighton manager Chris Hughton has been appointed as the head coach of the Ghana national team, fondly known as the Black Stars of Ghana. The 64-year-old has been working as a technical advisor for the Black Stars since February 2022. He replaced Otto Addo, who stepped down following the World Cup in Qatar, where Ghana finished at bottom of Group H with 1 win from 3 matches. It is Hughton's first managerial role since he was sacked by Nottingham Forest, and that was in September 2021. He also previously managed Newcastle, Birmingham, Norwich City before his 5-year spell at Brighton and Hove Albion, who he led to promotion from the Championship. George Boateng and Didi Dramani will continue as Ghana's assistant coaches. He replaces Otto Addo, who stepped down from the World Cup in Qatar, where Ghana finished at bottom of Group H with 1 win from 3 matches. It is Hughton's first managerial role since he was sacked by Nottingham Forest, and that was in September 2021. He also previously managed Newcastle United, Birmingham, Norwich City, and before his spell with Brighton, and now that man is now expected to lead the national team of Ghana, formerly known as the Black Stars of Ghana. Moving away from football, let's talk about other sports. Formula One makes a return, and in Formula One we focus on Mercedes. There's been this transformation and new ideas and innovation coming in and trying to rebrand their brand already, and that's talking about Mesdis. We hear that Mesdis have returned to an all-black color scheme for 2023 car that team boss at Toto Wolff hopes that will eventually fight at the very front. Of course, you can see the pictures on your screen. Quite beautiful, innovative. That's what you get to see when the Formula One season starts for Mesdis. And the team fell from the pinnacle of 8 consecutive world titles last year with a car that won only one race. And Mesdis are sticking with their no and side pod design, but hope to have solved the problems they have last year. And the black color scheme was first introduced by Mesdis in 2020 to promote diversity and inclusion, a campaign with which the team has supported Hamilton's push to increase the representation of minority in motorsports, and abandoned after 2 years for a return to Mesdis and traditional silver. It returns this year to help save weight, and the no side pod concept attracted much attention in 2022 because it was so different from the designs of the 2 fastest cars of the year from Red Bull and Ferrari. Although each took a different approach, both are differed from Mesdis in having a high bodywork side pods that directed air over them to the rear of the car and featured a lower channel that controlled the crucial airflow to the sides of the floor. And Mesdis, by contrast, paired their side pods right back to the extent they were almost not there. We hear it was considered a major engineering achievement to do so when the area of the car handles the cooling, but some engineers believe that a large exposed floor area was at the root of the aerodynamic bouncing problem that afflicted Mesdis for much of the year. There are also active questions in Formula One as to whether the no side pod concept can ever be as competitive as the Red Bull and Ferrari direction. And technical director Mike Elliott has said the team thought hard about abandoning their design concept and moving to the very different one pioneered by Red Bull, which has been copied by much of the rest of the grid. So we'll be watching out for this car and side pod and all that's coming through for the Formula One season. So let's see what Mesdis will be doing. Let's see if they can still give the likes of Red Bull and Ferrari a run for their money as we anticipate the new Formula One season. Away from Formula One now, let's talk tennis. In tennis, Wu Yibing became the first Chinese man to win an ATP Tour title with a victory over John Isner at the Dallas Open. We hear the 23-year-old ranked at 97th in the world won 6-7, 7-6, 7-6 in just under 3 hours. He saved 4 match points against the American former world number 8 Isner. Wu is set to rise to number 58 when the rankings are updated on Monday, making him the highest ranked Chinese player in the ATP history. And playing in his maiden tour level final, he did not compete on the tour from March 2019 to January 2022 because of numerous injuries, but he defeated American top seed and Taylor Fritz and Canada's third seed Denis Shapovalov on en route to the final. And Jamie Murray and new partner Michael Venus of New Zealand claimed that their first men's doubles title together after linking up last month. The pair top seeds in Dallas defeated Americans Nathaniel Lamont and Jackson withdrew 1-6, 7-6 and 10-6 in their match that lasted for more than 3 hours. And away from tennis news, congratulations to him. He will be in the top echelons when the ATP rankings are released on Monday. So we'll be watching that. As soon as it is released, be sure we'll show you that on Sports Today. And now let's talk athletics. Our Commonwealth Games 800 meters silver medalist Peter Ball has had his professional suspension for doping lifted after his B sample produced a different result to his A sample. The Australian, 28 years of age, returned an adverse finding for erythropoietin (EPO) at an out-of-competition test in October. He requested that his B sample be tested, which returned a typical finding. But Sports Integrity Australia says this is not the same as the negative result and will continue its investigation. Ball, who finished fourth at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, won Commonwealth silver in Birmingham last year, has always protested at his innocence. EPO increases the red blood cell mass, allowing the body to transport more oxygen to muscles and increase stamina and performance. And under the World Anti-Doping Agency WADA code, Bowe faces a ban of up to 4 years if found guilty of taking this drug. What's the name of that drug? EPO is called erythropoietin, one of the performance enhancing drugs. Let's see what the outcome of that will be. See if Bowe will continue with his exploit on the track and field. And now back to some football news. The Football Association in England has launched an investigation after Manchester City's Kevin De Bruyne had objected thrown at him during the 3-1 win at Arsenal, and that was on Wednesday night at the Emirates Stadium. The midfielder was targeted while he was walking around the pitch after being substituted later on, and referee Anthony Taylor is believed to have mentioned it in his match report. We hear Arsenal has studied CCTV footage and said they will impose strict sanctions if those responsible can be identified. De Bruyne scored and set up a goal over top spot in the Premier from the Gunners, and the Belgian international posted a picture on social media of himself at the Emirates Stadium with the caption "Beer Anyone." Another picture posted by Kevin De Bruyne with the cup in the air near him had the caption "Thanks." And that's taking some through at Arsenal, and that's Kevin De Bruyne. Remember, he equally showed that Mikel Arteta, the coach of Arsenal, a lot coming through for Kevin De Bruyne in the last match against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium, which Arsenal lost by 1-3 in that encounter. And now let's go to Merseyside. Liverpool and Everton have both been charged by the Football Association following a massive confrontation during a Monday night Merseyside derby. Yes, it was always going to be KG Merseyside derbies. Lots of red cards are coming through for the Merseyside derby, and this one is not going to be different. There was no love lost in that match between Liverpool and Everton, and the incident occurred in the 86th minute of the rest 2-0 Premier League win at Anfield. And the FA, the Football Association, said that both clubs have failed to ensure their players and conducted themselves in an orderly fashion and refrained from provocative behavior. Liverpool and Everton have until the 20th of February to respond to the charge, and players from both sides, including some substitutes, were involved in the incident. It followed an initial disagreement between Andrew Robertson and Everton goalkeeper, talking about Jordan Pickford, with both players receiving yellow cards for their involvement in that one. So on February 20th, they've been given time to respond to the charge by the English Football Association. That's based on what happened in the Merseyside derby, and that was on Monday night. And Liverpool are now being profiled as well as Everton in the aftermath of that match. And before we jet on the show Sports Today, let's now serve you the fixtures of league matches across Western Europe for the weekend. We'll commence with France. In France, Auxerre will tonight take on Lyon in their match. Nice is at home to Reims. Angers will travel to Strasbourg. Is PSG expected to take on Lille Lux Metropole. Elsewhere, Brest is at home to Monaco. Ajaccio will travel to Lorient in their match, and Rennes is at home to Clermont Foot. Elsewhere is Lens taking on Nantes, and Toulouse will welcome Marseille. And let's move on to Germany tonight. Augsburg will take on Hoffenheim tonight in the German Bundesliga. Let's also tell you that on Saturday in the German Bundesliga, there are about 7 matches. We'll have Bochum playing Freiburg. Borussia Mönchengladbach is at home to Bayern Munich. Stuttgart will host Cologne. Wolfsburg is at home to Leipzig. On Frankfurt will welcome Werder Bremen, and Schalke will travel to Union Berlin. Borussia Dortmund at the Signal Iduna Park will welcome Hertha Berlin, while Bayer Leverkusen at the Bay Arena will host Mainz 05. In Italy, let's move on to Italy. the Italian Serie A, the trophy usually won there. When you win the Italian league, it's being said that you've won the Scudetto. In Italy, this Friday, Sassuolo is expected to take on Napoli. Watch out for Sampdoria, Bologna. This weekend, also Monza is at home to AC Milan. Inter will host Udinese. Lecce will travel to Atalanta. Fiorentina will take on Empoli. Lazio will be on the road to Salernitana. Spezia will host Juventus. AS Roma will entertain Verona, and Torino will welcome Cremonese in their match. While in Spain, the La Liga Santander returns. Girona is at home to Almeria this Friday, and on Saturday is Real Sociedad taking on Celta Vigo. Real Betis is at home to Real Valladolid. Elsewhere, Real Mallorca will welcome a Villarreal. Osasuna will play Real Madrid. Elche is at home to Espanyol. Rayo Vallecano will host Sevilla. Athletic Madrid, the Wanda Metropolitano will take on Athletic Bilbao. It promises to be a star match and a very solid match. You know, Athletic Bilbao, they play at the San Mamés. Barcelona is at home to Cadiz. That's another match to watch. Cadiz has always been a thorn in the flesh of Barcelona in the recent past. And Getafe, the capital club, they play at the Coliseum Alfonso Perez. They are at home to Valencia. And in England, the Premier League return at lunchtime kickoff on Saturday. That's tomorrow, 1:30. Aston Villa, Arsenal hope to bounce back at the Villa Park. Brentford will take on Crystal Palace by 4 p.m. Brighton and Hove Albion will host Fulham. Chelsea is at home to Southampton. Everton will play Leeds United. It's Nottingham Forest play Manchester City. Wolverhampton Wanderers is at home to Bournemouth. Newcastle United versus Liverpool. That's a tough cracker. Manchester United will take on City. Leicester City, who seem to have rejuvenated, and they, of course, they are back on strongly. And Tottenham Hotspur will host West Ham United in a London derby. So those are the matches that will be played this weekend in league matches across Western Europe. And be sure, when we return here on Monday, we'll serve you the results of these matches that will be played in France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and England on the Monday edition of Sports Today on ABS TV. And that's the size of the show this morning, Sports Today on ABS TV. Thank you very much for being part of it. From the entire team, thanks a lot for being part of Sports Today. We'll see you on Monday for another episode. My name is Ike Mokede. Have a lovely weekend.